Bill groaned. "Christ, Cleo, do you ever switch off? It's 5 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon. Can't it wait till the morning? We're due to see the accountant at 10. I wanted to go through the numbers with you before he arrives." He rubbed his face, then frowned. "Didn't you say Sheila was popping over with the file?" "I expect she's had another crisis with her mum, poor Sheila. Looks like you're off the hook." He grinned and looked hopefully at the empty champagne bottle. "Don't suppose there's any more where that came from?" "I expect I can run to another bottle, but," I waggled a finger at him, "it's on the understanding that you get to the office by 8 tomorrow morning so we can go through the accounts before the meeting." He touched his temple. "Yes, boss." I filled a tray with glasses, headed through the patio doors to the kitchen and plonked it on the worktop. Retracing my steps outside, I almost collided with Stuart on the patio. He was red-faced and breathing heavily as if he'd sprinted from the kids' den under the apple tree on the far side of the garden. "Nate was there," he said, his hand gripping my shoulder. "But there was no sign of Emmy. I can't find her anywhere." I shook my head and removed his hand. "Let me check. You never look properly." Nate was sitting cross-legged on the floor in the wooden teepee-like camp playing with the Lego Star Wars set Bill and Melanie had given him when they'd arrived. Immy, to her delight, had been presented with a pink Peppa Pig beanie. I crouched next to Nate's level, my head framed by the doorway. "Nathan, where's your sister?" "Dunno," he said, twirling a tiny Anakin Skywalker figure round and round in his hand. "She said she was thirsty. Expect she went to get a drink." "When was that?" "Ages ago." "Oh, Nate, how long is ages? 5 minutes, 10, an hour?" Nate finally looked up at me. "At least an hour," he said with a shrug. "Or even longer." "Great," I muttered. I stood brushing dust from my skirt and gazed around me. The garden, which wrapped around the house in a generous L shape, was the main reason we'd bought the place. When we were house hunting, I dreamed of a former rectory surrounded by cherry orchards, not what amounted to an end of terrace in Fordwich, the smallest town in the country, even if parts of the house did date back to Saxon times. But when the estate agent led us through the plain wooden garden gate, I gasped in wonder. The previous owners had spared no expense, engaging the services of one of the country's top garden designers to separate the half-acre plot into a series of defined areas, each with its own colour themes: formal lawn, green oak pergola, kitchen garden, orchard, a secret garden and 2 wrought-iron water gates set into the far wall that opened straight onto moorings on the River Stour. It was perfect. "We can have our own rowing boat for messing about on the river," I said, my mind alight with possibilities. "Canterbury's only 2 miles upstream," confirmed the estate agent, "and it's a lovely trip downstream to Sandwich through the Stodmarsh Nature Reserve." That piqued Stuart's interest, I could tell. "My husband's an ecologist," I explained. "Plenty of wildlife on the Stour," the estate agent said, "and the garden is on the site of the ancient port of Fordwich, which was owned by St Augustine's Abbey. They transported the cairnstone used to build Canterbury Cathedral along the river and landed here." "They carried the stone from the cathedral through this garden?" "That's what it says here," the estate agent said, handing me the glossy particulars. "I don't know," Stuart said, frowning at the water gates. "It's not exactly child-friendly, is it?" I swept his reservations away with the wave of my hand. "We can keep the gates locked. Stop seeing danger where there is none. I love it." Of course, we both knew I'd have my own way, because I was the one who earned the money, wore the trousers, and had the casting vote. It was a done deal. And I was right. It was perfect. "Mummy," Nate said, bringing me back to the present. "What is it, sweetheart?" "I wasn't lying. Immy really was thirsty, but she also wanted to play poo sticks, but I didn't because I was playing with Anakin. I think she went to play poo sticks with Pepper instead." A trickle of unease slid down my back like a drip from a cold tap, but I shook it away. We always kept the water gates locked and the keys out of reach, always. "Be an angel. Check she's not sulking in her bedroom, will you? I bet Daddy forgets to check under her bed." Nate nodded and disappeared towards the house.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.